GT, baby.
What's cracking, y'all? It's your boy Junior Mafia coming back to you with another video. So I just finished watching Monday Night Raw and definitely want to talk about it. It was very straightforward. I enjoyed it for what, it's been presented to us and all that. And definitely some interesting topics I wanted to get into leading up to WrestlePalooza that's going down this Saturday and all that. So let's not waste any time and let's get right into it. So to start off the show, we literally had, interaction between Jey Uso and LA Knight. And, basically going on for last week of what Jey Uso spearing, LA Knight and all that stuff. And pretty much like letting it be known, like, I'm not rocking with y'all and all that. Like, this is all about me and my brother type shit. So, he just the way how Jey been moving lately, it's been pretty much giving off Roman Reigns type of energy and all that stuff. So you see Adam Pearce breaking it up and all that, telling him to go to his office and whatnot, and they was gonna sell it down the line. So Cena comes out to kick off the show, and them being in Springfield, Massachusetts, and they just giving him the love and all that stuff. He talking about he out the block, he went to school around there and all that stuff, and really pretty much got like into a lot of things that they love to hear, and it was just pretty sensational. They gave a lot of love to Cena and he got into Brock Lesnar and talking about him in regards to how to deal with him. You hit a fuck you Lesnar and stuff, and you see Cena telling like Netflix, like, listen, they very much is saying talk to Lesnar, but we all know what it was. Let's keep it real. We know what it was. And just letting it be known, like, yo, like, am I afraid of him? God saying, hell no. He says, yeah. And he pretty much saying that, when Lesnar came back and pretty much put the beats on him and all that, he wasn't gonna back down from this fight, because he knew like a lot is at stake, and before I got here, I'm gonna make sure that I get my get back one last time at him. So he let me know crystal clear that he's showing up to WrestlePalooza and looking to handle business and pretty much pack him up, and that'd be the end of it. But I love just the interaction, Cena had with the crowd to really kick it off, because it was pretty damn good. And, he came off, in the sense of just showing a lot of love, to the fans and everybody, the little kids, everybody. And, it was definitely a dope way to open up, Monday Night Raw. Definitely enjoyed it for what it was. And, looking forward to their matchup at WrestlePalooza. And also, we'll see how things turns out. So, we get back for commercial break. You see, Adam Pearce talking to Jey and talking to LA Knight to pretty much try to defuse the whole situation. And Adam Pearce telling him that tonight, LA Knight gonna be in a match between Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker, and saying that he needs a tag team partner. And LA Knight looking at, I ain't gonna choose Jey and all that, so I'm gonna go choose Jimmy. And Jey was not having it. He said, nope, that's my brother. We ain't doing that right now. He ain't gonna help you. And he told me, like, that ain't your choice and all that. And just went on about his business. So throughout the show, you see LA Knight talk to Jimmy. And, he pretty much tell him, like, look, I was, supposed to Adam Pearce have a match tonight, and he told me to use, told me to go find a tag team partner. And he said, to be honest, right now, I chose you. So Jimmy looked in the sense of like, I ain't trying to get into the business right now. I don't think that's the right choice to go. He said, to be honest, right now, I have nobody to trust. And he's saying that even though I don't trust your family, I could tell how much of a loyal person you are. So, Jimmy looked at it in the sense of, listen, I'll do this, but at the end of the day, me and my brother, we got some business to handle with the Bronze, leading up to WrestlePalooza. So he said, I'll tag with you tonight, and pretty much don't expect nothing else past that. So, LA didn't care about that. He said it is what it is and move forward. So as the show progresses, you see Jay, and he's on the phone talking to somebody. And once Jimmy is, walking up to him, he immediately hung up. So Jimmy asking him, like, who was that you were on the phone with? And Jay paid off. It's like, nobody. Like, nothing too crazy. Like, he ain't trying to explain to him or nothing. So Jay telling him, like, I hope you're not tagging with LA Knight. And he was saying, like, listen, I'm doing this one time, handle business and all that, and then, leading up the rest of Palooza, we're going to take care of things between the Bronze. So Jay is turning down, like, you only be tagging with LA Knight and all that stuff. It's just, it's all about us and all that. And us handling business and shit like that. And pretty much being so demanding, telling Jimmy, like, you don't do these things and all that. So Jimmy like, hold on, first off, you're not going to talk to me like that. I'm like, you talking like you have a Ula Fala around your neck. Like, there's nothing there. So he said, I'm going to need you to project your voice on who you speaking to and all that. And was saying that, at the end of the day, you don't run me. I make my own decisions. So you start to see temper flaring between the two, and it is not going good. And I feel like this is going to play a huge role when they match comes up against Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker, because there's going to be a lot of friction going on. And I think it's going to lean more on the side of Jay and how he maneuvers around. So definitely something we have to pay attention to, when that match start to wind down. So we'll see how that turn out. But they had a main event match where LA Knight and Jimmy Uso taking on the Bronze. And very solid match. Enjoyed it for what it was. And, hands down that LA Knight never was going to win. And lo and behold, that ended up happening. They did get some momentum here and there and all. But it was just only a matter of time to where, Braun Breaker starts getting in his bag and all that. And then, Bronson Reed was going to follow suit. So as that's happening, and with Bronson Reed, he does this crazy flying shoulder tackle to LA Knight and pretty much packed him up, which only left Jimmy and Bronson Reed in the ring. And Bronson Reed, of course, handled the business like he did, hit the jagged edge onto Jimmy and pinned him for the 1, the 2, and the 3. And once that was done, of course, they're going to put their attention onto Jimmy and pretty much take him out of the equation. Then Jay came out, trying to save him and all that stuff. So, he starts getting into, on attack mode, getting both of them up out of here. So once it was done and he shifted his attention to Jimmy, in the corner, you could see LA Knight, and he has a chair. And he's picking it up, and as Jay gets up and all that, and you see, and closing in on him, and as soon as Jay turns around, he holding the chair right there, and then put it down, because Knight said, like, when it comes down to me attacking you, I'm not gonna attack you from behind. I'm gonna make sure you see it coming, and all that. So, that was pretty much him making a statement about that. So as it's happening, and you tell him, like, listen, let's just put it aside. Let's handle these two motherfuckers, and whatever else happened past that, it is what it is. So Jimmy extended his hand out. LA Knight said, and he turned down, like, first I wasn't gonna shake your hand, but he like, you know what, screw it, we'll shake on it. So he's cool and all that. So Jay thinking, all right, everything cool, until LA Knight turn around and hits him with a BFT. And then says, now we even, because look at last week when Jay hit LA with the spear and all that. And there's pretty much LA like returning the favor and telling Jimmy as he's leaving out, like, now we even with this. You know, he got me last week. Now I got him back, and pretty much left that alone. So we know down the line that it is going to be, you know, a feud with both of them. I'm definitely looking forward to that because I feel like they've been planting the seed so much, and not in a sense of Jay being a heel, but you can tell he's leaning more over to what Roman used to do, and that is what's going to play a focal point. So I'm definitely looking forward, you know, to seeing what happens, you know, down the line and all that shit. There's a lot of good things happening on the show as well, like the match between what's escaping me, Lyra Valkyria taking on Roxanne Perez, and very solid match. We know interference is going to be a thing, especially with Raquel Rodriguez. She got banned from ringside and all, but once Lyra was able to pull away with the W, Raquel ended up coming out to attack Lyra, and Ryman able to jump her and all. Out of nowhere, Bayley returns back. So Bayley goes in there, she beats up both Raquel and Roxanne, get them both out the ring, and when she is in the ring with Roxanne alone, and she didn't get to do something, her mind just shifted. It was like she had voices in her head, and she was just chanting her inner Randy Orton. And you know, once she saw Lyra, she just didn't pay her no mind, got out of the ring and started hugging Vic Joseph and Corey Graves, started hugging Finn. Like it was just she going back to her old character where she was just a hugger. And you know, this is Bayley going through her phases. So that was crazy to see as well. You know, everybody looked at confused of what the hell is going on. Like she's sitting there hugging everybody and shit, and then leaves up out of there. But backstage, when you see Lyra pretty much trying to, you know, gets talk to Bayley, you know, she pretty much either she's talking to herself or talking to somebody on the phone, but she starts to like really tweak out. So as it's happening, and Lyra starts to just knock and then go in there, and she was saying like, you know, I want to like thank you for pretty much helping me out there. And Bayley gets up and she talking about like, thank you for me helping you out. Like, you know, you sitting here, you doing all this stuff. You come in here, you didn't even knock. You started to just barge your way in there. You never know what I've been doing, blah, 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 blah. Like, she's just been really crashing out. So, this is going to play a huge role because I feel like Bayley, and she's kind of like messed up in the head. You know, you're going to see different phases of her, you know, as the weeks progress. And, you know, that's going to play a huge role, especially if they decide to pick up with this feud between her and Lyra Valkyria. You know, I definitely want to see more of Bayley character being like that because I think it's going to make things more interesting. You know, I'm definitely invested into it now. A lot of people may not feel the same way, but personally for me, I definitely want to see more of that. And looking forward to it. And let's get into the most interesting part of the show, and that was Becky Lynch and Seth Rollins confronting both AJ Lee and and CM Punk, excuse me. So you had them come out there and, you know, pretty much addressing everything that happened last week and pretty much like, you know, talking their shit. And, you know, saying Seth Rollins felt like Springfield wasn't like respecting him and all that. So he telling him like, listen, I was going to like shout y'all your home state home state and all that too, but since y'all not showing me respect, fuck it, I ain't gonna do it. And just went on out where he had to get off his chest. So after it was all said and done, you know, they pretty much called out AJ Lee and CM Punk, and they ain't waste no time, got in there and all that. And when they got into their ring, CM Punk grabs the mic and proceeds to say, you know, everybody just be sick and tired of your theme song, and got sick of it. And they was talking about how, you know, I could have came out here to cult the personality, and that would have been a lot better. Follow it, light it up. So, you know, he pretty much going like down the line with everything. And you see Seth and Becky pretty much shit talking him, you know, throughout the whole duration of this interaction. But Seth Rollins was saying that if it's one thing I could give credit to you, Seth, to CM Punk, he says AJ Lee coming back was the best thing out of for you, and pretty much was saying that if it wasn't for her, pulling up here, who knows what would have happened. And you see Becky, she brings up as well, like, the only reason why AJ ever came back, because we didn't even know about it, it was mostly because of you, like, being in trouble. She said because if it wasn't for that, AJ would never have showed up at all. Like, this would never been on her bucket list to be back in the WWE ring. So they just pretty much downplayed it and all. And I like AJ's response, telling her that, excuse me, I know people didn't expect me to be back in the WWE ring, especially after everything that happened 10 years ago. And, talking about she was dealing with, like I said, her mental health situations, anxiety, and all, and of course a neck injury, which you see Becky try to allude to, talking about her neck, injury, and how she might be rusty in the ring and stuff like that, especially when it comes down to that specific injuries. Tell her, so that neck injury, I had two championships, while dealing with that. So as she tried to downplay it, you see AJ kind of counterpart it. So that was very interesting. And she was telling her, like, when it comes down to me, she said, I'm a Puerto Rican from New Jersey. Sometimes I shank a chick. That was the craziest shit to hear, because, everybody know AJ can be a little psychotic here and there. If you know her character for so many years, you know what, she brings to the table. But I love the back and forth with them. And, Seth Rollins was saying, like, when it comes down to you, AJ, like, you a little girl. Like, you not ready to deal with somebody like me and stuff like that. And, doing that is pretty much a bad look. And pretty much was saying that when it comes down to your husband, I read him like an open book. Like, I know him inside and out and all that stuff. And pretty much I'm always going to have his number. So as it progresses and all that too, you start to see AJ smack Seth. And Seth kind of repeats what Punk said, last week, and was saying that I would never put my hands on a woman and all that. But I got somebody who will do that for me instead. So you see Becky has this little crazy look. And as it's happening, Seth looking is like, are you going to do something? Like, clearly I'm talking to you, going to do something. And they start to have an argument back and forth. So now it's doing everybody, oh God, it had me shocked, like, okay, is this happening now? And it's a little friction here and there. So that's they arguing, and you see Becky leaves out. So she's storming up out of there, and and Seth, he's figuring out, like, what the hell is going on? So as it's happening, and I could tell this was the plan all along, Seth getting pissed about it, but CM Punk comes, right behind him as if, like, you do something, I'm gonna pack you up. So Seth got to mush his face, leaves out the ring. So as that's going on, and I'm pretty sure Punk was gonna follow suit, that left AJ vulnerable to where Becky went out there and she hits him with the manhandle slam. So as that was done, you see Punk gets back in the ring, and he's trying to aid on to AJ, and Becky's there, and she's smacking the shit out of CM Punk. Just smacking him. And when it looked like he was about to do something, which I was hoping for, I was praying for that to happen, she ends up leaving out there and all that stuff. And, that was pretty much the end of the segment. But this was so fucking good. Like, me talking about it don't do it justice. Y'all had to check for yourself. I definitely enjoyed it and definitely looking forward to that matchup at WrestlePalooza. So, this is going to be interesting, and I cannot wait. But overall, I'll say this was a very straightforward show. I enjoyed it for what it was. And if I had to give it a rating, I'd give it like a like an 8 out of 10. You know, definitely straightforward. Had some interesting matches here and there, and definitely enjoyed what was presented to us. But comment down below. Let me know what you think about Monday Night Raw. What was you rated? You know, how do you think about these segments and all that? Just let me know in the comment section. But I appreciate your love and support. Continue to keep God first. Trust the process of anything that you do in life. Your time will come. And I'm going to catch you on the next video. Peace.